Hi everybody, it's Brookie with Nightbird Tarot. I wanted to do a top five tips on how to connect in a tarot reading, and this is for all the tarot readers who are watching, beginning, intermediate, professional, lifetime. My 5 tips, my 5 go-to things to help me connect. My top 5 tarot connect tips, so to speak. Many times I've heard this, I've read this, I've watched other readers talk about it on YouTube, and I think it's something that's very important. And I think it's something also that's now being talked about more, and especially in any kind of spiritual work that you do, is the technique. My number one technique or tip to perform a better tarot reading, or to perform a tarot reading in general, is you must to avoid any kind of emotional, spiritual drain out, is to ground and center. You have to ground and center each and every time, before a reading, and if you can, after a reading as well. It's something that's not really taught or really spoken about, or perhaps even really written about. The technique and the premise of grounding and centering is to enable yourself and to enable your energy field to not absorb or take on the low vibrational energies of a reading. And you will know the difference. You know, if you have a very positive reading, you kind of sparkle, you kind of get this tingling, or I do, and I get very energetic. If I am doing a low vibrational, heavy type of reading, I feel very tired, I feel very emotionally drained, mentally drained. And that goes with doing successions of readings, especially if you're a YouTuber and you want to get out your monthly readings in a day, or spread it out, which is pretty much the best thing to do. So let's say you're doing all 12 astrological signs in one day and just knocking them out the ballpark. You will most likely find yourself feeling very hollow inside, empty, like an empty shell, emotionally drained. If I do many readings back to back, I get not only physically drained, but I get hungry. It's almost as if I'm taking a part of myself and giving it away. The premise of grounding and centering goes way back to any kind of spiritual path work, to any kind of spiritual, any type of spiritual or magical practices. Always speak about and talk about grounding and centering. And it's very significant for readers to do this for themselves. You're not doing it for anyone else but yourself. That's the main objective, is to protect yourself spiritually, protect yourself mentally, and protect yourself physically from getting physical, emotional, mental drain out, because it's real. It's something that perhaps not spoken about very much, but it's real. My technique I learned way back in the day when I was studying about different religions, different magical practices, and the technique that I learned was actually a guided meditation that I learned to ground and center. And it only takes about, it can take 30 seconds, it can take 2 minutes, it can take 5-10 minutes. It can take 20 minutes, depending upon what you feel is essential for you in that moment. So I very much, before each and every reading that I perform privately and publicly here on YouTube, I always take, as if I'm going into a meditation, I breathe in, I breathe out, I take deep breaths, I clear my mind. It's very important to get off the negative chatter bandwagon, so to speak. I clear my mind of many things. And I imagine myself with of course I'm kind of sitting funny, but I don't do this with shoes on either, but I imagine my body is very straight. My spine is very straight, and there's a magical cord that goes from the bottom of my spinal cord all the way to the top, through the top of my head. And it goes out through the ceiling of the room that I'm in. And it goes out through the roof of the house or the place that I'm in. And it connects to the sky. And then I can see that rod getting taller and larger and brighter. And I will climb up the rod. And I will see many things when I climb up the rod. This has taken years of practice. And as the rod of energy gets stronger and I feel that I'm being connected, almost like screwing in a light bulb, I will come down from it, and it will go down through my body, through my legs, through my feet, down through the floor that I'm sitting on, down all the way to the roots of the foundation of the home. I will envision this, and then it seals itself, and then in the stomach area, in your tummy area, you imagine a ball of white light, blue light. Many practitioners envision white light or blue light. And it kind of locks itself in there. And when I don't do it, when I am impatient or I'm in a hurry and I don't ground and center, I later regret it. So that's my number one tip. My number one tip for performing and connecting as a reader. The best thing that you can do for yourself, not for the client, it's not for the client or the client, it's for the reader. It's very important for you as the reader to develop whatever serves you best to ground and center. It's very, very important. You can do it through that type of technique. You can pray. You can meditate. You can do some sort of ritual beforehand, light your incense, read a poem, whatever it is or whatever it takes for you to ground and center. So, so, so important. Number 2, really watching what you consume before doing readings is very important. Abstaining from sugar is very important. Abstaining from alcohol. Abstaining from anything that you're putting into your body that's not healthy. Because junk food. Because I've noticed when I would perhaps, say drink the night before and have a few glasses of wine, and I'm going to do a reading the next day, I'm a little sluggish. I'm a little or I'm not eating quite as healthy as I should. It does affect you physically and it does affect you spiritually. So really watch what you're consuming. Number 2. Number 3, and the best way to help a reader connect to a reading, to me, is very essential in terms of asking for guidance. If you're a believer in praying or connecting to God, Goddess, Jesus, whatever it is for you, divine source, whatever you look at as a higher power, it's very important to connect. connect. I always pray beforehand, always pray before a reading, and I have a spiritual team that I go down the list and pray to help me connect. I'm a big believer in angels. I'm a big believer in angel magic. I'm a big believer in guardian angels. And I'm a big believer in the power of protection in terms of Archangel Michael, for me, personally. And I always ask to connect to the client's guardian angel. I ask my guardian angel to please help me connect to the client's guardian angel. And whether this is hocus pocus to you, whether, oh, okay, yeah, right, girl, you're really connecting to something. To me, I really do believe that I am connecting to something. It helps bring in a stability spiritually for me of some kind. Whatever it is for you and how you connect, okay? Number 3, I just did number 3. Number 4 is really about, if you believe that you have a gift, if you believe that you are connecting psychically or empathically, or if you're connecting spiritually as a reader, I'm very much about gratitude. I'm very much about making sure to not forget to thank my spiritual team at the end of the reading, to thank Divine Source, to thank God, to thank Divine Source for my psychic gifts, to thank my spiritual team, because gratitude and giving thanks is something that is very important, because you're doing a spiritual work. You're doing something along the lines of not only using your logical mind to read the cards, literally, based on what their symbolism is, etc., you're tapping into a form of spiritual code that if you receive messages intuitively, if you feel them, if you see images, if you hear them, if you're clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, whatever it is, you're receiving this imprint. And it's very important to give thanks, because it's very much appreciated, I think. It's very important to give thanks. I'll always give thanks. And if I forget to give thanks, I will give thanks, silently later. Very important to give thanks. Because I think as readers, we're really not doing this alone. I really think there's something else that's helping us. Number 5 for me, in terms of the best techniques or the best tips to perform a better reading or to connect to a reading, it's very important to read however you interpret it, however you read the cards or any kind of divination system, to allow the message to come through intuitively. Many times there's other ways to interpret any kind of divination system, but it's very important to be authentic and to stick to what you know as what you see. So what you know is what you see, what you feel, what you're feeling, okay, what you're getting through the reading. And it's very important, and I've learned this, if you get the weirdest, craziest things that come to mind, albeit, not something that's going to scare the person, I put it out there, and 95% of the time, there's something in there that is accurate or that needs to be told. Almost kind of like in being a spiritual interpreter, or kind of like mediumship, if you have that kind of quality that comes up in readings. Very much don't stick to a script. Don't be worried about how you're interpreting the cards. It's the opinions of other people that are going to watch, or It's all up to you. It's what you're getting, it's what you're feeling, it's what you're seeing, it's what you're hearing, it's the vibrational things that you're picking up on. Okay, there's no need for a script. It's from your studies, it's from your interpretation, it's from your intuition. Okay, and if you do read here on YouTube publicly, it can be cutthroat when it comes to other people's opinions of how they would interpret it. Basically, next. That's great, but you stick to what you know, because you know what the message is that needs to come through. So those are my top 5 ways to connect to a reading, ways to connect to perform a better reading as a reader, as a tarot reader, diviner, psychic, however you want to interpret it or color it. Very much has been my go-to. It's very much been my process as a reader for many, many, many years. And it's something that's very important to develop or to adopt. And it's something that you don't even discuss with your clients about. It's just a ritual of sorts that you do for yourself. Kind of like when, you know, whatever rituals that famous singers go through before going on stage for 3 hours, or whatever rituals really successful sports people do to train and to get their regimen up to go and perform a really great game. It's the same kind of concept, okay? Because if you really, the number one thing, if you don't take care of yourself and if you don't ground and center, it's going to really kind of like boomerang you around spiritually, and it's going to show up in your body physically. And it's very, very important. This is spiritually based work. It's very much something that is not only about the bells and whistles and the prediction and the accuracy. It's very much about connection spiritually with other people and helping them and being basically in service to them. So I hope that was helpful for those that have watched and are watching, the readers out there, the ones that are learning the tarot. If you have any questions, let me know. I just wanted to come on and share that with you. That's my top 5 techniques that I use. So I hope it was helpful. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And take care, everybody, and I'll speak to you soon.